didn't reinvent its clamshell style foldable, but the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 looks ready to hold on to its value foldable crown. Samsung's mid-year Unpacked event delivered everything we expected, with some new Galaxy Buds 2 Pro, a new duo of smart watches across the Galaxy Watch 5 and Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, and a pair of foldables in the Galaxy Z Fold 4 and the Galaxy Z Flip 4. The new foldable keeps the signature clamshell design and comes with an improved display, dual cameras, and a flagship chipset. The screen's diagonal is 6.7 inch, which is the same as the predecessor, but that's where the similarities end. The new OLED panel has a better hinge that bends in a pear shape to close completely when folded. It supports HDR10 Plus and comes with 144Hz refresh rate. Also, Motorola dropped the weird notch with the panel tucking underneath and introduced a punch hole design for the 32-megapixel front-facing camera. Now, we don't want to call it a selfie shooter, as selfies will likely be taken with the dual camera on the back, in combination with the external 2.7-inch OLED screen that apparently remains unchanged. The main camera has a 50-megapixel sensor and OIS identical to what is used on the Edge 30 Pro and S30 Pro. The secondary camera is a 13-megapixel ultra-wide-angle shooter with 121 degrees field of view. The previous two Moto Razr phones had Snapdragon 7 series chipsets, but finally the Moto Razr 2022 comes with a flagship Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. Other specs include support for RAW shooting, MyUI 4.0 interface that redesigned some apps to work on the outer screen as well, dual speakers with Dolby Atmos support, and proper DC dimming. Both foldables certainly look like their respective predecessors, with the Z Flip 4 rocking a familiar two-tone clamshell form factor, a dual rear camera, and an external cover display. So what is new? Across both the Fold 4 and Flip 4, iterative refinement looks to be the name of the game, but that's especially true with regards to the Flip, which at a glance looks and handles almost identically to its predecessor. Samsung, however, has been keen to impress the influence of its users, and how user feedback has dictated what areas of the Z Flip formula the company has focused on in refining 2021's still compelling Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. The first two Motorola Razr foldable phones clung too tightly to the nostalgia factor, with an elevated chin at the bottom that was lifted straight from the classic Razr clamshell phones of the past. Motorola did put a fingerprint sensor on the chin and also used it as a clever contraption to slide in a portion of the flexible screen, but it was still a divisive design. In 2022, the chin is going away. A Lenovo executive had already showcased the phone on stage before its launch, revealing a design without any chin and symmetrical bezels at the top of the bottom. Plus, there is no camera notch for the selfie camera at the top. Motorola is also improving the folding design by making the teardrop-shaped hinge inner radius 3.3mm. It will allow the device to be in a half-open position or act as a tripod for your selfies. Motorola has teased several use cases like watching a video on the top half while chatting on the lower half, plus other multitasking stuff. While the design makeover is clean, Motorola still retains some of the classic Razr design by making the top and bottom edges ever so slightly curved. The outer cover display, which is already noticeably bigger and significantly more functional than Samsung's Galaxy Z Flip 3 or Z Flip 4 is also adding a few millimeters to itself on the Razr 2022. The inner foldable panel is a 6.7-inch OLED screen, while the cover display is a 3-inch unit with an 800 into 573 resolution, which will get 9 different widgets for at-a-glance info. The display will have support for DC dimming and a 10-bit panel with HDR10 Plus support. It will be one of the few smartphones in the market to sport an OLED display with a 144Hz refresh rate. Another notable change is the dual lens rear camera setup, but there is no word if more color options will be on the table this year aside from the usual black trim. Although the Flip 4 focuses on compact portability to the Z Fold 4's productivity, it doesn't skimp on performance, with Qualcomm's latest Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 silicon running to the show. That's the same chipset you will find in the latest Android flagships, including Asus' newest Zenfone 9 and its gaming bohemia, the ROG Phone 6. Although in this instance the Snapdragon comes twinned with a more modest 8GB of RAM, whereas the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 features 12GB. You won't find any of Samsung's own Exynos chips in this latest crop of foldables, meaning performance should be more consistent. Wherever you pick one up, some of Samsung's flagships, namely in the Samsung Galaxy S series, run on either Snapdragon or Exynos chips depending on where in the world you find them, and as a result, aspects like performance and camera behavior can vary pretty distinctly between the two versions, usually in the Snapdragon's favor. As for battery life, while charging remains the same as on the Flip 3, support for up to 25 watt when wired and wireless charging at up to 15 watt. As a direct result of user feedback, the Flip 4 bumps the battery capacity of its predecessor up from 3300 mAh to 3700 mAh, which should allow it to more confidently make it through a day. The Moto Razr 2022 is already available for pre-order on the company's Chinese website in only one color, black. Prices are 6,000 Chinese yuan and it makes $890 for an 8GB and 128GB storage variant. We don't if and when Motorola will bring it overseas. For now, we have heard practically nothing on the matter. It is over. Motorola finally launched the Moto Razr 2022 and the phone is everything we expected it to be. The new foldable keeps the signature clamshell design and comes with an improved display, dual cameras and a flagship chipset.